with the paradox of having employers screaming for qualified employees, and you have people who are unemployed looking for a job and they can't find it.
As they've done with this refined program.
Exactly. I had probably 12 career changes in my life. When I was working at Ontario Hydro and we're going through massive changes, 50% of the workforce was let go. Was I just a number there?
Welcome to our immigration stories as told by Canadian immigrants. So we drove 15 plus hours to beautiful, beautiful Thunder Bay, which is in Northern Ontario. We were able to connect with community members. We were able to connect with employers. We were able to connect with the college here. And I am filming right now out of Confederation College. I am here with three beautiful ladies, but also we'll have other guests joining us today. What was it like for you to come here and be able to experience Thunder Bay for a week?
First time I came to Canada and it was really cold. In February, we reached -42, something like that. It's getting shorter and shorter every time.
So now, expectations versus reality.
Especially when it comes to the rentals.
Yeah.
It was hard for us to find a place, being new immigrants, not having a credit history or having references. I always see that Canada needs people, they want healthcare workers, and I'm a pharmacist.
Help us to understand what that process is like to get practice here as a pharmacist in Canada.
You need to
1, 2, 3 of you are here because you network. It's such a magic network. It's so magical that it's happening and you don't even realize that it's happening. So Claudine, for you, this was your first formal networking event.
I was saying to myself, what am I going to say? What if I say the wrong thing?
Any last pieces of advice for immigrants right now? Hello and welcome to our immigration stories as told by Canadian immigrants, live from Thunder Bay. I am here with three beautiful ladies, but also we'll have other guests joining us today, and we are going to share our experience here in Thunder Bay. This show is all about sharing the real, the raw, and the inspiring journeys of immigrants who have made Canada their home. We're going to be sharing their journeys, their challenges, their triumphs, and their truths. Now, it's easy to think about Thunder Bay or any immigration program on paper, right? So it's like, oh, this is the immigration program, this is where it is in Canada. But what is it like on the ground? What is it like to live there, to eat there, to go get jobs there, to meet people there? What's the winter like? Now, thank God we didn't come here in winter, thank God. But though we are not here in winter, we are getting the experience of winter through people and their cars that they have to plug in to warm them up to start in the winter. So FYI, that's what's happening up in here, okay? So we're gonna share what it was like to be here in Thunder Bay for a week, what's like on the ground, what it was like meeting people. We've met quite a bit of people. And so we're gonna talk about that. Ladies, how are you feeling about talking about that?
Feel great.
Good.
Yeah, we're ready.
Awesome. Now, first of all, what was it like for you guys to come to Thunder Bay? You are here now, and you know, this was all in the making. We've been talking about it with some for more than a few months, with some a week or so. But what was it like for you, Shrina? Okay, you could take the stage first. Oops, sorry. What was it like for you to come here and be able to experience Thunder Bay for a week?
When we discussed Thunder Bay, first thing I did was check the distance from Toronto. And I won't lie, but the drive, 15 hours, you know, that seemed like a lot, but the scenery was so beautiful, so that made it bearable. And, you know, and being in Thunder Bay, well, I can only compare it to Toronto since I've only been there so far in Canada. And it's nice, it's peaceful, there's not a lot of traffic, the people are friendly, like you get that community feel. And of course, it's beautiful. There's a lot of greenery. Yeah.
Awesome. Anastia?
Okay, so yes, piggybacking off what Shirna mentioned, the 15 hours drive was no joke, but if you have company and if you have a good playlist, that would be ideal for the road trip, and lots of snacks because there's not a lot of food on the road. So if you're planning to fly, just plan ahead and book that ticket to fly because it's less than 3 hours or 4 hours, I believe. Mm-hmm. So planning the trip was seamless throughout with the group. And landing here, well, not landing, but driving here, we arrived at nighttime. We were welcomed with open arms, warmth. Terry welcomed us. She was the first point of contact in Thunder Bay. So it was a warm welcome. She showed us throughout the stay that we were going. And the next day, actually, her clients were introducing us to city councils, introducing us to managers, just making a referral, say that you can go to this place, go to that place. So coming into Thunder Bay, it's more of a community. It was more of a sense of you're not an immigrant, you're not an outsider from Toronto, we know this. They just welcomed us with open arms. Yesterday we had a great networking event, and out of that we met everyone. It's like, you should stay. We've been invited to a birthday party, right? In just a day, couple hours, actually. So in all, it's a great experience. I don't want to leave. I even told the team that we can stay another week, but we'll see about that, right, Frank? Right, Christina?
We'll see about
All right.
Claudine, how has it been for you? We've been planning this. So Claudine, just some context. Claudine and I have been planning this trip for probably a couple months. We had some hiccups along the way, and probably it was a blessing in disguise because we would have come in at the winter. But how has it been for you? And we're finally here. So finally we're here, and how has it been?
Oh, it has been a great journey. And living with the girls, because on Sundays we meet as a group on Zoom.
Yes.
But living with them, you get to know
Who snores?
oh yes, who calls out names in their sleeps, and also who fall asleep with the phone in their hand. Oh yes, I saw that one last night. Yeah. But the people friendly, welcoming, so it's a very good place to want to live.
Yeah.
I feel.
And I think you bring up a very good point just now about being able to come here with a mini community, which is probably helpful for if you do choose to move, and ideally at least more than two of you choose to move, then you had that experience, and community is so important, right? Because I think this is the second time I think we're asking you. Now we're here, how is it? But when we're coming here, you were also looking forward to the camaraderie. And I think that, which is the benefit of being in community, right? Networking sideways, right? So networking is you meeting fellow immigrants, and how can you help each other along this very difficult journey. And then of course you're networking up and down if you want to mentor the next immigrant generation. But you spoke first time, you said, I'm looking forward to the slumber party. and now you're bringing it up again. So community is important, and networking sideways can give you that value. So now expectations versus reality. So we're going to talk big picture, right? Because expectation is that when you left your home countries, so Shrina is from Belize, Hanastia from Jamaica, Claudine also from Jamaica. When you are coming to Canada, two of you as international students, you as a spouse of an international student, you know what your goals are coming here. What did you expect, or rather did what you came here, the reality, did that meet your expectations? Canada, generally.
For me, because Jamaica is a English-speaking country.
Okay.
So in my mind, I have the CELPIP lock.
Oh.
And reality, it's not that easy.
Yeah.
And there are some strategies in order to overcome this. But yeah, the CELPIP exam.
Okay, so language test. I think that
right.
Generally speaking, English-speaking people, I think anybody who is a native speaker of the language thinks that, I can go and just do this test. But it's really a test against the clock. Right? Yes. But also a test of your ability to think quickly and use the language as wide a vocabulary as you possibly can to convince the person that you can communicate and understand English. Yeah. So that's a big, you didn't expect that. Got it. And for you, Hannah?
What did I expect? I came to Canada with big expectations. I was like, you know what? I only live once. I'm in my 30s.
YOLO.
I'm in my 30s. Why not experience North America? I've traveled back and forth, so that's nothing new. But to actually live here, to actually find new friends away from your family, you had to plan for it. And in planning for it, you had to have a realization that expenses is going to be one. Where the Jamaican dollar is not used to the Canadian dollars, it's two different currencies. So in planning for that, and I know a lot of our third world countries or persons traveling abroad are going to look at the currency exchange and think that, hey, I can manage Canada. But when reality hits, when that expenses hit, you're looking at rental prices anywhere from 1,500 Canadian dollars all the way up to 3,000. So that expectation, you have to plan for it. And in that sense, in planning for it, your expenses, your mental health is one. We talk about how England is so cold. Canada is colder than England, by the way. Just want to put that out
And
there.
Thunder Bay is
So used to being in the tropics, you're at the beach every day. The beach is 5 minutes from you. You have sand in your toes. I couldn't tell when last I had sand in my toes. So I don't. So you have to have that mindset to say, okay, I'm going in. I'm making new friends. I'm networking. It's not what I'm used to. Like, hey, I apply online and I get a job. That's not how it works here. How it works here is networking, having conversations, being a little more open. Even if you have to be a little vulnerable sometimes, closed mouths don't get fed. So that was a lot of expectations versus reality in my end.
And Shrina.
So I agree with 100% with what Hannah said, especially when it comes to the rentals.
Yeah.
It was hard for us to find a place, being new immigrants, not having a credit history or having references. So that's something to look into prior to arrival. Another thing, well, for me being a healthcare worker, I always see that Canada needs people, they want healthcare workers, and I'm a pharmacist. So coming here, I decided to try and get licensed. The process is very lengthy, so I would recommend persons to start it from home, especially the document evaluation. You can start that before arriving in Canada because it takes a few months. So that by the time you are here, you can start sitting the necessary exams and obtain licensure.
I'm glad that you touched on that point, because that was my next topic for you to talk a little bit about your journey, especially as a internationally trained medical professional. Is that how I say it? Yeah.
Yes.
What is it? What's that thing?
Graduate. They refer to it as IMG, and International Medical Graduate.
International medical graduates. That's what you are. So, one, getting licensed and getting registered in the province of Ontario. So you talk a little bit about that, but can you help anybody who is from whatever country, or Belize, because we know that there's not many people from Belize here. So if you're from Belize, please drop a comment in the section below and let us know, hey, I'm from Belize, so that we can connect it to your fellow Belizeans. Yeah? Okay.
Belizeans.
All right. Help us to understand what that process is like to get practice here as a pharmacist in Canada.
So to practice here, you need to register with the Pharmacy Examination Board of Canada. Okay. They are the ones who will evaluate your documents to determine if your degree is a Canadian equivalent.
So not West. Don't go to West. Don't go to University of Toronto. Go to the Pharmacy Board.
Yeah, they do the evaluation for any pharmacy degree.
Yeah.
So with them, you make your submission. And for me, the process has been lengthy because no one from Belize has ever done it. So they didn't have anything on file from my university. So I had to submit syllabus and everything. Whereas that was not a requirement. But after the application, they said that, they would need to see what exactly was covered in the program, and they have no reference material.
Wow.
So I had to communicate with the university back home to get those documents. So this is why I said if people are interested, it's better to start it before leaving home, so that you can, get all you need and submit everything, and that would save time.
Okay. And then so once you get your degree evaluated, then you have to take the provincial exams.
Yes.
Which could take a little bit of a time.
Yeah, because you have to do basically 4 of them, and they're offered at intervals. So it's not something to say I'll do one this week and 2 weeks down the road. So they offer them different times throughout the year, and you have to pass one to do the other one.
And so what I'm hearing is, one, be prepared to schedule out exams, so you're not going to be able to just drop here and practice as a pharmacist. But two, you have to budget whatever that's going to cost.
Yes.
Right? So whatever the costs are, and of course, if we say it today, we know that inflation is happening tomorrow. So go and look up on the website what these exams could cost so that you can budget for that as well. And then now, your work permit. So I know that we met last summer. Oh, look, it's almost a year. And, you know, you were excited, eager, you had almost just come, sort of, and now you're heading out into the work world. We went to a networking event, you get a connection, you get a job offer, and then slam in your face because of a restriction that you didn't even know would have been a problem. So talk to me a little bit about that work permit restriction and the hurdles or the challenges that it has caused for you.
Yes, so on my work permit, there was a condition, and I didn't even notice it. It's in the fine print at the bottom that stated, I don't remember exactly the words, but it's basically saying that I'm not able to work with children 0 to 12 years, or in the health care field.
Yeah.
This is because I was not required to do medical exams before coming into Canada. So while I did my application process, I was paying attention to everything on my profile. And there was always a note. Well, there are like 5 questions or so in your profile. And one of them was, do you require a medical exam?
Yeah.
And the response to that was always, IRCC will contact you if you do. They never requested me to do it, but because of watching YouTube's videos before leaving Belize, I actually contacted the medical officer in Belize and asked about that. And they asked me for a reference number, but I didn't have that since IRCC didn't require me to do medicals. So I went on with the process, arrived in Canada, and did not realize that condition on the permit. So after getting a job offer, that's when it was brought to my attention that I'm not able to work in the healthcare sector. So I researched on how to get the condition removed.
Yep.
Did what I needed to do, which was book an appointment with a doctor. I had to do medical exams, a chest x-ray, and made my submission. The submission would have been to remove the condition from the work permit.
Right.
So I made the submission and waited for a response. I waited maybe about 4 months or so. And when I got a response, apparently they did not review my case in depth because they actually withdraw the application to say that I have a valid work permit.
Yeah. So don't apply again, you have a work permit. So whoever is reading that application is not paying attention because you've checked the box to say remove the medical conditions once I've done a medical. So the restriction is usually, so anybody who doesn't do a medical, the restriction is generally there that says you cannot work in healthcare and you cannot work in education at the primary and secondary level. So check your work permits. This is not the only case of somebody who I've heard a couple nightmares this year already of people who got jobs, had job offers, had to turn them down or had to leave the job because of the restriction. And the restriction is not just if you are a healthcare practitioner, but also if you come into close contact with people who come into close contact with patients. So even if you're an administrative person in the healthcare sector, or education sector, you could be affected by these restrictions. So read the fine print, know what it is, so that you don't end up, you get the job in an in-demand industry in Canada, and it's like, irks, stop. Not here, irks. Stop, you can't work, go away. So, and you are trying to appeal this withdrawal that they've done because somebody obviously made a mistake, and now you are kind of in limbo.
Again. Yeah, just waiting again.
Waiting again.
So it's almost a year and I haven't been able to, do anything. Basically.
Almost a year, and she hasn't been able to work in her field, right? And now that she hasn't stopped. So I commend you for, one, being on this trip, right? We're going around and having the conversations, handing out resumes and stuff like that, because it's only a matter of time, I presume, for you. But these are kind of the untold stories of how the paperwork can simply affect somebody's ability to earn a living, right? And thankfully, you guys came prepared, at least.
Yes.
Something of the sort. Hanastia, sorry, I don't use your full name, Hannah.
Oh my God.
Hannah. Another I guess untold story, another experience of not necessarily work permit restrictions, but work permit challenges. So I want to talk a little bit about your experience now. Coming from the work permit topic there, you studied, you did the thing, you followed the rules, you did the thing, you studied. Now you're applying for your post-graduation work permit for you and your spouse before any of the spousal changes were in effect. And then what happened?
All right, so we had a timeline with planning to come to Canada. Not sure if we would love it as much as we do now to extend our stay, because we were head on to say, okay, a year is perfectly fine. My husband does his work. He's in software development. He gets his work permit and working with clients. So with that, I was like, in the meantime, I always wanted to do project management. I love operations and project management. That's my thing. So I ended up studying just to get an edge instead in terms of what's the connection or networking here in Canada like and starting a new career. So we loved it here and decided, hey, why not spend an extra year? Because we did have that flexibility to say, okay, if we're staying or going based on the studies and based on his work permit. So we decided to stay. We loved it here. We met friends. We met you guys. I found my long lost cousin, which is in Scarborough. So close here as well, so it made it a community. It made me, hey, this is home. So we extended his work permit, and at the same time I was eligible for a PGWP because I went to school, which would given us an extra year, so that would be 2 years in Canada. Falling short, just long story short, it has been in appeal in terms of getting the work permit extended for another year. While we wait on that, we have until next year to decide what we're doing. So it's just a waiting game. We've been calling IRCC nonstop with updates. I know they have backlogs and they're working tirelessly. So it's a matter of waiting. But while we wait, we're still in limbo of having that security, that job security, or having that way forward with moving ahead, because if we do take an opportunity in Canada, it would not be fair to the employers or to the community of Thunder Bay to say, hey, let's take Hannah, but she only has 6 months remaining on her permit with her husband. Now we're right. So in essence, it's just a matter of networking, finding this program and finding a sense of community and realizing that, hey, is Canada really going to be our home if we do? If not, do we go back home in Jamaica and start a new family there?
Yeah. And I love that you mentioned the magic word, my favorite word. What is it? You know it.
You got to pay me for that one.
No, come on.
Networking.
Aha. Right. So I'm glad that you mentioned that then, because then that is into our next topic there. So we're going to hear a little bit about your experience. And I think like that I did a 6-week series, and the one on networking is the most underwatched, because I know that, of course, when you're in the immigration journey, like you're in the thick of it, you're not permanent yet or anything. It's so easy to hyper focus on the immigration programs and the policies and the drama within immigration, and then applying for jobs online, not thinking the value of networking, right? So that video is the most underwatched. And it's easy to like be intimidated by networking or the term networking because it's so formal, it's so orchestrated. Oh, how do you network? But it's such a magic. Network is so magical that it's happening and you don't even realize that it's happening, or it happened and you realize after the fact, right? And so I want to talk a little bit about networking, talk about the fact that 1, 2, 3 of you are here because you networked, right? Nobody beamed you down from a spaceship and said, go there, right? You networked, but you didn't even realize until probably you sat down and thought about it. We had a conversation about it, right? So let's talk a little bit about that and how easy it is to network without having to try too hard or without having to feel scared or intimidated. So yesterday, we went to an event put on by the Chamber of Commerce. Most municipalities have a Chamber of Commerce that you can probably tap into. They'll probably have a free networking event. I know Ajax Pickering has one. I know that the Scarborough one has one. And the Thunder Bay has one. So they had a shift, young professionals networking event yesterday. We went, and before we went, there were questions like, oh, how do we network? How do we have, what do we do? And I'm like, it's it'll just happen. It's magic. I promise you, it's just magic. So Claudine, for you, this was your first formal networking event.
Yes.
Okay, which is not uncommon. So now I know if you're watching this video, you've never been to a networking event, you've never gone out to network. You don't need to call it that. You've never gone out to build connections. You've never gone out to meet people. This is your sign, go. How was it yesterday and what made it hard or easy?
Yesterday was fun. But first, when you told us about the networking event, I was saying to myself, what am I going to say? What if I say the wrong thing? But the event, I loved how they prepare things for you, because they set it on a bingo card in that form. And instead of having the numbers on the card, you have questions like, do you like spicy food? Tell me more about yourself and those things. And using that format, it made it very easy for me because just looking on the card each time and you move around to persons there. So it was easy for me, and I made a lot of connections, which was very good, and plan to keep them for life.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
so,
it kind of came naturally.
And yes. So persons out there, if you are going to a networking event, I would advise you to just write down questions and just keep them in your back pocket so that you can look and ask. Go around and ask, and it will be much easier for you.
I write it in your hand, Miguel, right? Don't sweat, don't have sweaty palms, right?
Yeah.
So, and then we spoke about like the connection between the three of you being here on this trip, because all of us are strangers in the grand scheme of things, right? So people know me because they may see me on YouTube, but I don't know anybody. I don't know many people. However, there's times when I have a coaching community, I'll have online hangouts, and I'll have in-person events. So last year, I held two community events, one in Oshawa, one in Pickering, Sports Day, right? Because I'm big on mental health, and I think that all of this ever-changing immigration world is so mentally consuming, and that having a community, having some fun, right? Doing something outside, connecting with people can just take your mind off of immigration, at least for 2 hours, right? So I had the Sports Day event. I threw it out to my community, and Shrina showed up. Shrina. So let's talk a little bit about the networking connection here and how you end up being here today.
Yeah, so when we decided we were coming to Canada, we started to watch a lot of YouTube videos. That's where I first saw Christina. And I became a part of the community. And you issued that invitation. So we arrived maybe a few weeks before that.
Awesome.
So then we decided to go out. We didn't know anyone. We were tired of being in the apartment. So we wanted to build a community. So we went to the event and we met a few people. We met you in person for the first time. And because it was like a Caribbean event, you found Caribbean food, music, people that look like you. So it was fun. And after, being a part of the community, I met these ladies
online on Zoom. Oh, we went to an event too.
Yeah, we met on calls before because when we were put in rooms, we conversated, and then I met Hannah at an event that you invited me to in November.
Toronto. Yes.
Yeah, and we had fun at that event, and then we all went to a restaurant, laughed,
had some Nini chicken.
Yeah, and then like me and my husband, we spoke and we were like, we haven't done that in a while. That was in November. We got here maybe July. So like just to sit with friends or people and laugh, like we didn't have that. So building community and networking goes hand in hand.
Yeah, right. And just stay connected. So this was then seeing me on YouTube, probably coming into my private community. Then in there, I post events. When I'm hosting something, I give you opportunities, and I host weekly calls and sometimes quarterly calls for the community to connect with each other. Not just hear from me, but network sideways. I put them in breakout rooms in Zoom, and then they're able to connect. How are you here, Hannah?
Same as Trina, YouTube, because I told you before, we researched extensively on what province to go, on who should we connect with once we're in Canada. So it was your video that brought the attention to us, and we just did it from the school. The school is a very good platform, by the way, that you get to share your ideas and networking and the links that you shared, and even express entry draws. So even sometimes you get caught up with work or day-to-day life, Christina is there to show us, hey, this is the latest from IRCC.
Yeah.
Awesome. And Claudine, so this was like an indirect thing, right? So they're talking about networking is magic. I don't even know how I know Lois. I don't even remember. I think it's through my husband, then Lois, then so talk a little bit about, well, I'll share part of it and you share the rest of it. So we have a mutual contact who I know through somebody else. Right? And for years I've known her, and she communicated with Claudine, knew about her immigration story, reached out to me and said, Christina, I think this person could use your support. She connected her with me, and then Claudine and I have been connected since like October of last year, just through that mutual contact. Let's see why home networking is just magical.
Yes. And another thing, Christina, persons you meet, everybody is an immigration coach. Everybody, because they have things to tell you, but it's good to meet the right person to get the right information and for your journey.
Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome. And how has it been for you guys to be supported by me on this journey, right? This is for the future trips, right? How has it been to be supported, brought here and assisted with going through the program?
Well, you make it way easier because you knock on doors, you speak to people, and we step in the rooms and continue the conversation. So, yeah, I don't know if we would have, been meeting as much people if you were not here coordinating.
It's a great experience to have the support in terms of, you're going through, what's your favorite word again, that disease?
Post-immigration stress disorder.
So when you're going through that disorder that Christina created, you sometimes get locked in your room, not feel enough confidence, in yourself to expand. But when you have Christina here on the community, it makes you be more vulnerable, but in a good space. Even setting the alarm. It's like having a boot camp, being in a boot camp.
Oh, yes.
With a woman, right? So that's it's very interesting. Alarms every morning. Yeah.
That they don't wake up to anyway, so I don't even know the point. All right, so as we land the plane here, you guys have shared. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you much for trusting me to be on your journey with you. It is a pleasure and a privilege. I was a designated driver, so I captained the ship here, and we're going to have a 15-hour drive back to Toronto. We're looking forward to it. It's okay. Wow. It's okay. It's fine. Ladies, each of you, what's one thing you wish you knew before coming to Canada?
Well,
one thing. You can pick one.
Some processes are slower than you think.
Okay.
So dot your I's and cross your T's.
Yeah. Research. Hannah.
One thing I wish I knew before coming to Canada, because I've researched so much, it's very hard for me, but it's ever changing, especially with the laws and the legislations and the policies. If I had known it sooner, because a lot of immigrants technically, and we're speaking generally here, we normally go for the United States or the UK, right? Now that Canada is such an open door, it's a melting pot for most cultures. We tend to gravitate towards Canada. But to note is that one thing I would have wished I knew before was that these policies change quite often. You will get a change today and it's effective the end of the month. So brace yourself for that, because you can be studying a master's program in filming, and then when
let's not use filming as the example. Let's not use that example.
And then a month afterwards, you're not in demand. You got to study PSW or healthcare. So that's the one thing that I wish I had known. Brace myself for those changes.
Claudine.
For me, wildlife. I mean, wildlife.
What did you come across?
Exactly.
Well, it depends on where you are living in Canada.
What have you come across as in terms of wildlife? Because I only see deer in the bush one time.
I've only seen the signs.
Yes. I saw a squirrel.
Yeah, what? You're afraid of the squirrels? Oh my god.
Like it.
Wildlife, you're cute.
Squirrels are so innocent. I would have raccoons would have been a more like
I don't like. Let them stay over there.
Okay.
So,
wow.
And they're running around. They're like a dozen. It's like, yeah, okay. I've never heard that one before, but yeah, like you never know. Like each person is different. Okay, so that's one thing you should know. Well, that's awesome. Thank you guys for sharing. We're gonna go to a quick break, and after the break, we're gonna hear from Frank Pullia, the previous city council and also Italian, who is now here living in Thunder Bay. We're gonna hear his immigration story and what he is doing to help the city of Thunder Bay. So right after the break. And we're back. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Now we're here with Frank Pullia. He's originally from Italy, and you've been in Canada for far longer than I've probably been born. So you've been here for a while. And we're gonna dive into your immigration story. We're gonna hear about your involvement in the city, and we've had a really good conversation about even the rural and northern immigration program and the pilot programs that exist now. And so first, I want to hear a little bit about your journey to Canada and how that happened.
Well, thank you for the invite to participate in this great initiative and for your dedication to help the lives of immigrants. As a first-generation immigrant, that cause is dear to me because I had to also overcome some challenges, even though in today's environment, it's slightly different than what I encountered because I came in as a landed immigrant. I had family here, uncles, cousins, who had been here for over 10 years. So I didn't have to start from scratch. And also I came to the college to learn English as a second language for almost 6 months. So that really helped me a lot because I didn't speak any English when I came. So it was good. Like Canada was well known and I appreciated firsthand the quality of our immigration programs.
Yeah.
But in today's environment, and as a former city councilor who wanted to help the city of Thunder Bay grow, I got involved to make it better because we were not growing. Like, Toronto has a gridlock and we have the lack of growth. But my experience, so that laid a foundation for my experience and my interest in being involved.
Yeah.
When I came, I was 17.
Okay.
So was young enough to have an open mind. I wanted to be here. I came from a large family of 9. So I came with a mission. I was working and studying in the evening, upgrading, all the way to first year university. And eventually when the rest of my family, my parents and the rest of my brothers and sisters came, I quit my job at the grain elevators, making good money at that time, to go back to school and get a business degree.
Yeah.
So I believe in the power of education to empower people, especially new immigrants.
Yeah.
But right now, most of them are qualified, highly qualified.
Yeah.
So that should not be the issue.
Yeah.
The issue seems to be now some of the bottlenecks and some of the lack of coordination that it can happen because, like Canada has opened the doors. And so now we're trying to adjust to handle a wave of new immigrants.
Yeah.
So that's what we're here, I guess. And
Yeah. And so your family was in Thunder Bay and you came straight to Thunder Bay. You've never lived in any other part of Canada?
No.
Ah.
Actually, I lived in Toronto for 6 months.
Okay.
Great opportunity
Yeah.
to work. I was working for Ontario Hydro.
Oh, yes.
And I had a chance to get a good job in Toronto at that time and sell my house in Thunder Bay and move there. But for some reason, I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I came back to Thunder Bay. So I love the city. It provides a good balance between the big city feeling and the small town environment where you get to know a lot of people. It becomes a second family, and also being in politics, I get, to really appreciate some of the challenges and opportunities that our city had to offer.
Yeah.
And I stayed. I didn't I didn't go to Toronto. I stayed here.
Yeah, well, thank you for staying here so that at this point in time, here we are meeting. Because if you left, this wouldn't be happening. This wouldn't be
Probably
happening.
not.
Yeah. There is, yesterday I drove past an Italian center of the
The
sort.
Italian Cultural Center.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yes, there's a large and fairly dedicated Italian community. Over the years, as first immigrants, they found strength in community building, and they didn't have the services at that time. Canada didn't.
Yeah.
I'm talking about maybe 100 years ago when the first wave of immigrants came, even before the First World War. And actually, my grandfathers on both sides of the family were here in Port Arthur and Fort William at the turn of the century.
Okay.
My grandfather used to tell me
So
that in
OG.
1904 he came here when he was 14 years old,
Okay.
working in the bush, in the railway, and eventually they went back to fight in the First World War. They both survived, and otherwise I wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
But
Thanks for surviving.
So I have deep roots in the community of Thunder Bay. So if DNA has a memory, when I landed off that plane when I was 17, I felt right at home.
Awesome. Awesome. So now fast forward to present day, and you have done some work in the city, in the community, like you said, a little bit about trying to promote growth in Thunder Bay, and then doing that through, of course, immigration, like the rest of Canada. But let's talk a little bit about the pilot program, like what piloted that and the city's growth plan, so to speak.
When I was on city council, I was the budget and financial chair, and it was obvious to me as a CPA and as an MBA, having helped and worked in this field and helping community around the city and across northwestern Ontario with their community development plans.
Right.
That we needed to grow because, we have a footprint the size of the city of Montreal. And that's expensive. So our fixed cost to run the services and the operation of the city of Thunder Bay is fairly high. You need to grow. There's no other way, because otherwise, the residential taxpayers have to pick up any increase in services. Growth for us was a way to bring in more revenue, because we already invested in a primary, secondary, tertiary water treatment plant that can handle 30,000, 40,000 more people without additional investment.
Right.
We have a lot of that in place, the Confederation College and the Lakehead University and the hospital. So we have institutions that are poised to manage the growth. When we talk about growth, we need to talk about managed, planned growth.
Right. Sustainable.
In Toronto, they got the opposite problem. They got gridlock galore, right? So sometimes when the government at the provincial level passes a legislation to control that growth, because our development is based on provincial policy guidelines that constrain growth. That's fine for Toronto. It's not good for us.
No.
We need more growth.
Yeah.
So we had to refocus our energies and our policy directive towards growth.
Yeah.
And so allowing more qualified immigrants to come in and help us with that growth was a great initiative.
Yeah.
And I remember being part of it through the Workforce Planning Board, where I was a co-chair of business for over 20 years.
Okay.
And I was involved as a director or co-chair for about 4 or 5 years.
Yes.
And I remember we were discussing these things, and we commissioned policy studies that led eventually to some of the pilot projects, and through the cooperation of the Chamber of Commerce, Northern Policy Institute, and other organizations, including the college and university, we were able to launch the first pilot project some years ago. And now it's good to see that it's continuing, refined.
Yes.
But it doesn't mean that we can improve it on it. And through your experience, you can see there's still a little bit of fine tuning that we need to do. And I appreciate the work that you're doing. And, and that's why I think it's a great initiative, and happy to make my small contribution if I can provide any insight in how we can improve any current and new pilot projects.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad that you ended on that point, because like you said, there is room for improvement. And a big part of the reason why we came here to Thunder Bay, and we are here in Thunder Bay for a week, is because I know that Thunder Bay is unique in all of the communities participating in the Rural Community Immigration Pilot, in that Thunder Bay is participating in the RCIP, the REDI, which is Rural Economic Development Immigration Program. And they are, it's beneficial to live in Thunder Bay, where you get 10 points for living in Thunder Bay through the Ontario Immigration nominee program. No other community is common across those 3 programs, right? Sudbury comes close, it's participating in 2, but not all 3. So Thunder Bay being, to me, they are showing interest. Like, okay, I didn't know what the reasoning was behind it. Now I know it's of course you guys have a smart growth plan, and so you do this, so that makes sense. But on the ground now, coming here, like, how does the immigration program on paper play out in real life when you are here? How easy is it to get a job? How easy is it to connect with employers who have joined the line to say that they are participating in these programs, right? And so I think in terms of what we've found, in terms of room for improvement, is that here's the list of employers over here, right? A lovely list, it's probably in this folder. And here are the people over here, right? But what I think could use some improvement is a bridge to connect the two,
exactly.
Right? Because we're on the ground. I'm sort of being that bridge to some extent where we're showing up. We are showing up at employers who are on the list to find out, are you participating? Are you hiring? Like, what can we do to, because I see the need and I see the lack of a bridge. So talk about the bridge.
Yeah. Well, it's important to focus on the economic development aspect of welcoming new qualified immigrants in the area where employers cannot find a skilled workforce.
As they've done with this refined program.
Exactly. So that was part of the genesis, the big push. So no community anywhere in the world can grow unless you have a good match between the generation of new positions and new jobs and the supply of qualified people. And organizations like the college try to project, and like a university, the need, who's going to qualify in what areas in 2, 3, 4 years, and what's the demand for those jobs. So we should always stay one step ahead of the curve and produce positions that are in demand.
Yeah.
But because of the changing environment, moving so fast, and especially in the economy, it just takes our next door neighbor in the south to say, we're going to put tariffs on these products. The whole industry goes a little haywire.
Yeah.
Right? So it's important to be coordinating, collaborating amongst community partners.
Yeah.
And so the economic development aspect of the city through CDC, Community Economic Development Commission, is heavily involved in this, because that's how we create jobs, that's how we fill jobs.
Yeah.
And so the immigration part is a part and parcel of well thought out strategy of planned and managed growth. So if there's any bottlenecks that through your experience you have encountered, it's very important for us to know at the community level, so that those people involved, those organizations involved, can then go back and make it better.
Okay.
You
Well, we need a bridge.
need a bridge.
Here's the jobs, here's the people. We need a connector program. We need some sort of coordination to make it not be people sending out resumes to the black void and not getting responses. Of course, understandably so, because you're on the list, your phones are probably blowing up. So getting anybody on the phone is difficult. And of course, if you're emailing, it's difficult. So I get that, right? So the employers their jobs isn't recruiting. I get that. But maybe hire a HR consultancy or some sort of a bridge to coordinate the efforts that you have vacancies over here. We have people over here. How do we connect the two, right? I have a trained, on my team here of people who've come with me, pharmacist, right? A logistics coordinator, a financial coordinator and operations manager, all skills that's based on the list that they've identified, they can fill. But we need that bridge.
Otherwise, we end up with the paradox of having employers screaming for qualified employees, and you have people who are unemployed, employable, looking for a job, and they can't find it.
Exactly.
Because of that matching, I guess, we can use technology like eHarmony and go and do some matchmaking and some successful partnerships.
See, right? And I mean, with the technology now, we have AI, right? That makes that, even probably easier and more possible. So we'd like to see the bridge.
Even though when we're talking about people and, you need the human element. And
you need the human element. Here I am, right? And then use the technology to make my job easier.
Technology is only a tool.
It's only a tool.
It has to be people-centric.
Exactly.
Otherwise, we forget what we're here for.
Exactly. So we're not using AI to replace it, but we need some level of matching. We need a bridge. We want a bridge. So now on the topic of these same people who are looking for jobs and who are trying to figure out how to navigate this changing landscape of immigration, there's a term that I coined, I mentioned it in the first segment. So I put this word together, of course, originating from PTSD, so post-traumatic stress disorder. So post-immigration stress disorder, because the mental and emotional toll of immigration is this hidden thing that we experience that we didn't even know we needed to prepare for.
That's right.
Right? My first visa was rejected. So I had rejection in the pit of my stomach. And if I think about it too long, I can feel it, right? I remember where I was. I remember the day. I remember I was using a BlackBerry phone, all of that stuff, right? And then you come here and it's a whirlwind for probably 2 to 3 years or even 5 years almost, depending on how long people studied for. And it takes a toll on even their ability to show up well in an interview, right? To be able to do the grind of applying for jobs, and so just the life management, so to speak, right? And you right now are authoring a book called The Art of Life Management, How to Manage, let me tell you what it is, Ancient Wisdom and Modern Strategies for a Better Life in an Uncertain World. And that's exactly what immigration is. Very, very, very uncertain, right? So what tips could you recommend for these folks who are trying to navigate?
Well, thanks for that. I had probably 12 career changes in my life, including politics. So, and I thought that some of the lessons I have learned through mistakes or just changes in the environment, that if I can collect some thoughts down that could help other people learn from my mistakes, not from theirs. But it's not just the mistakes, because it's not
Lessons.
the right term, because at any given time, the decisions we make are based on the best possible information we have at that time.
Exactly.
Nobody says, I want to make a mistake. No, you make the best possible decision. But the environment today, socioeconomic environment, political environment, is changing so fast that it's difficult to adapt. And that's why we need everybody collectively to get involved and help pave the way for people who want to improve their lives.
Yeah.
So hopefully in my book, I have, used that collective knowledge that I have had through ancient wisdom, our ancestors who survived. And that's why we're here today. And some of the modern technologies, modern strategies, and to focus, because you are 100% right. When I was working at Ontario Hydro, and we're going through massive changes, and at the end, 50% of the workforce was let go. Or Kimberly-Clark, I was working at Kimberly-Clark, same thing. Like in the 80s and 90s, 2000, we went through some massive changes in our labor force. And that, like you said, when you lose your job, no fault of your own. And you think you're just a number. You don't, you gave a lot to the corporation, to the community. And then you think, was I just a number there?
Yeah.
Like, people think, 50% of the workforce at Ontario Hydro is laid off. Are the lights going to stay on? They did stay on.
Yeah.
So you realize that you need to also take care of yourself.
Yes.
There has to be a balance between your dedication to the company, which the employer requires, and it's needed, because you have to be a good employee in order to have a fulfilling collaboration and relationship with your employer. But it works both ways, right? So once we understand that, then people can prepare accordingly to face an uncertain future.
Yeah.
Prepare in the best way possible, understand what's happening, but also employers have a responsibility to provide the flexibility. And in many cases, COVID taught us that there has to be flexibility in this strange, new, uncharted territory that we're facing, called the future, for us to move forward in a more prosperous way as a country, as a community, as an individual, and as a family, because behind each individual there are families.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So I like that you mentioned that learning from mistakes. So my platform, though it's called As Told by Canadian Immigrants, the larger brand is As Told by Experience, right? And so learning, I think that other people's experience sometimes is the best one to learn from, because then you don't have to make the mistakes that they made, which is kind of what birthed even my platform, because my visa was rejected. Why was it rejected? I was missing my police record. Don't miss out your police record, right? So I can just say, like, save yourself some trouble sometimes, some stress, some money,
you can help
by
others.
learning. Exactly, right? And you have a lot of years of wisdom and experience to be able to put that forward. So that book is coming out soon. Of course, when it's launched, we'll tell everybody about it, and learn how to help manage your life in this situation, whether it's uncertain world, globally, or immigration. We know that's very uncertain. So thank you very much for putting that in the book and sharing it with the world. I appreciate that. Any last pieces of advice for immigrants right now who are navigating, so mostly the temporary residents who are trying to get themselves situated here? It's hard. So as part of, your experience as an immigrant, but also you're now talking about managing life, managing the world. Any last words of wisdom that you would want to leave with them, or even about Thunder Bay and moving to Thunder Bay?
Sure. And I was also involved on the Workforce Planning Board, where their job is to be the harmony for the labor force, So we, as a board, it was community driven, realized that there was a huge part of the big picture in economic development. Because in any investor that wants to start a company, their cost, over 50% is labor. It's the workforce. It's huge. The hydro cost, the property tax, and the gas and all the utilities, they are 7, 8, 9, 10%. Over 50% is the workforce. And the IT sector is up to 70% in some of the more technology-driven services, right? So should we pay a little more attention as community, as leaders in the community, as employers? No, if you are CEO, if you are the proprietor of a small, medium-sized organization, an entrepreneur, you're trying to build a company.
Yeah.
So you're busy. You can't really connect everything. You're trying to earn revenue. So that's why I think the community, the Economic Development Commission, City Hall, and all the different organizations, especially the education areas, collaborating together. And they have in the past. Thunder Bay has been great for that. Yeah. But I think there's always room for improvement. And your role in helping people overcome those barriers is crucial. And that's why I appreciate being here, because through my contacts and the people that I have worked with in the past, and I know that I already made some phone calls, there's been a great response so that we can provide that feedback needed to fine-tune and correct and adjust the program so that can become even better. And that includes provincial government, federal government, because they want to help. And we need to help them help us. Yeah. And we need to go there prepared together as a team.
Yes. Awesome. Awesome. And I want to credit this conversation to the magic word, networking. Guys, it's so underestimated, right? Guys, I want you to dare greatly. I want you to be bold. I want you to just try, because the worst that could happen is that he could not respond, or he could say no, right? But thank you for saying yes. Thank you for being here. And this is now, the magic of networking is that here now I've connected with Frank. Frank now knows other people and connects me with other people, which is extremely helpful, and I appreciate it, and it would be very beneficial to the community. And so far, the ladies are benefited from that. So thank you so much for that. I appreciate you. And I want to credit this setup, this amazing setup, the people behind the scenes. Of course, we have international students here from Mexico, international student from India, who are here at Confederation College, who has a super awesome media program with students who've been part of Marvel movies. I saw Django in the thing there. I saw Breaking Bad. Lots of amazing movies that students out of this college have participated, and one is probably up for an Oscar or a nomination. If I'm using the wrong word, totally so sorry. But they've been nominated for something awesome because this school and this medium program is awesome. So thank you so much, Confederation College, for having us here, hosting us in this beautiful auditorium. Next time, we're going to put butts in those seats. So we're going to go for a quick break. And after the break, we're going to talk to Eddie Lopez, who you saw. I had a virtual interview with long before I came to Thunder Bay back in April, and now it's June. And so we saw him virtually. Now we're going to get to see him live. He was so hospitable, him and his family. So we're going to have a quick chat with Eddie before we wrap up. Eddie, we made it.
Yes.
So we spoke. I reached out to Eddie. Eddie was, just like Frank, was open to connecting with me. So I appreciate you for responding to a stranger's email. And now we're like family, right? We could.
Yes, we are.
Yeah, we can show up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I met with Eddie. I interviewed him, so you can go watch that video afterwards. And you shared your immigration journey and your immigration story. It's such inspirational because there are many people who were just inspired by it and encouraged by it and encouraged for you and your family. Lots of people said, yeah, we're happy for you. So I'm passing that on for you. So thank you so much. And in our conversation, I said, oh, I'm coming to Thunder Bay. You probably didn't believe that I would.
I couldn't believe it was going to be happening that fast. And here we are.
Here we are.
Yeah.
Right? So, and your family, you and your family were very hospitable, very welcoming. Thank you so much. There are people who, I mean, when we spoke at your house the other day, we spoke a little bit about winters in Canada.
Correct.
Can you tell us a little bit more about winters here in Thunder Bay?
Okay, I'm from Mexico. And it's really hot in Mexico. The first time I came to Canada, I came to Kingston, which is southern Ontario. But because of work, as I explained in the previous interview, I decided to move to Thunder Bay. And I arrived in, I'm trying to remember, January the 2nd, 2023, to this city. It was packed with snow. And it was really cold. In February, we reached minus 42, something like that. So it gets really cold. But my personal experience is that once it's like minus 15, it doesn't matter, it's cold. Minus 15, minus 25, minus 30. Yes, it's cold and I won't tell the difference. It's just cold, and I just like adding more layers of protection to my body.
Okay.
So it is cold. We get lots of snow here, but again, I've been here only almost 3 years. So, I've heard from local persons that in the past they will get way more snow than now, and it was way colder. Also, it seems like the winter is getting shorter and shorter every time. So I'm assuming climate change is not the future, it's here.
Yeah, right. And I've been driving around and seeing plugs hanging out of the front of people's cars.
Yes.
So I interviewed a couple people. I'm like, there's a plug hanging out of your car. I thought that it was unique to diesel engines. So I thought that diesel engines needed to be heated up, especially when it's cold. Correct. But these were gas vehicles.
Correct.
So do you plug your car in?
Yes, you need to install to have a block heater installed on your vehicle. And I'll tell you something. I went to Mexico last January for 3 weeks. And to be honest, I didn't even consider plugging my cars because I said it should be okay. When I came back from Mexico, we have 3 vehicles at home, including a company car, and I couldn't start any of them. So I had to replace the batteries. So that's one of the reasons, and I learned it the hard way. So you need to plug your vehicles during the winter season.
Okay, and did your cars come pre-installed with block? You have to put them on.
No, I'm sure. Again, I'm not 100% sure, but the vehicles that I have.
Yeah.
Those vehicles, the block heater were installed after they were obtained, but probably there are cars that come with them from the dealership. Now, something important that I learned here is that you need to have 2 sets of tires. You need to have your summer tires and your winter tires. There is people thinking that you can live with a set of all-season tires, but I've been advised from many experienced local persons to just get 2 sets of winter tires. And also that do not put the aluminum rims during the winter because it'll get damaged faster.
Steel rims.
Yes, you need to have steel rims during the winter, and summer you can put your nice fancy aluminum rims.
See, all these things that you never realize you have to think about, because I too, with the whole tire switching, never knew about that. And I have a video of me loading my tires into the back of my car. I've never had to load tires before, and I had to.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Back in my home country 3 years ago, you don't have to worry about these things.
You have one set of tires.
Yes, and it's not also that if you own a boat, you need to do something that's called winterization. So you need to change the fluid on the lines and put an antifreezer so your lines don't break. Also, you need to put fuel stabilizer. But again, I'm not an expert on that, but I've been hearing things from service providers, and those things you don't do them in Mexico. You only do those things here, or probably in the States, some areas of the States as well.
So all the more reason not to own a boat then?
No, I think it's if you want to own a boat, you need to be aware of this.
Be prepared.
Be prepared. Yeah. Yeah. In terms of the weather, I like it here. It can get really cold, but also it's really nice. Nowadays, where it's summertime and it's just beautiful.
It's nice. Yeah.
Back in my home country, right now, probably where the area where I'm coming from is plus 42, 43 degrees Celsius, and it's a little bit hard to breathe under those circumstances.
Yeah. And I mean, just before we land the plane here, when we had a lovely cookout in your backyard under really good weather. So thanks again for having us, being so hospitable. And there's something that you mentioned that really stood out to me. You did share it in your story that when you came, you guys were prepared. You know, you had to be financially prepared. Also, like, you're looking for the job, and you were in a very unique industry as a naval architect. That you shared a word of advice about your hair. If you have 2 years, if you have 5 years, you have to really hit the ground running and get into the right jobs so that it's advantageous for you and you're not stressing out later on. So if you wanted to share that word of wisdom.
Okay, I'll try to rephrase that part again. One of the important things that worked for us, again, we're not immigration experts, but for me and my family, we decided to save some money before coming to Canada. And that allow us to come here, and we didn't have to rush and try to find any job. I came to Canada in August 2022, and I got my first job in January 2023. So I could have taken any other job, but I decided to wait for the right opportunity. The second piece of advice, as I told you, we came to Kingston, but I was willing to find jobs in other provinces. And although Thunder Bay is within the same province, it's Northern Ontario. It looks like another province.
It's far. We drove 15 hours to get here.
That's the second part. The third part is I've seen friends struggling with, they have short time in their work permit or study permit. To me, it's really important to get a job and demonstrate to your employer that there is value in you. So this employer can really fight for you and be willing to support you in any immigration program that you might be wanting to apply. Now, it's just a matter of working hard. Everything is, I always tell my sons, nothing in this world is made by aliens. So you guys can, whatever you want to do, just aim for it and work hard to get it.
Yes, awesome. Great advice. Great little segment here with you, Eddie. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. We're here. I said we were going. You can go watch that video. And we came and we found Eddie live and in color. We met his family, and we are going to hang out with them again tomorrow. So thank you for having us, and thank you for being on the show. We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to wrap up after these messages. So we drove 15 plus hours to beautiful, beautiful Thunder Bay, which is in Northern Ontario. We came to see, we came to learn, we came to explore, and we came to see if it's somewhere that these ladies want to live in. I don't know, in the future, maybe, maybe not, we'll see. But we were able to connect with community members, we were able to connect with employers, we were able to connect with the college here, and I'm filming right now out of Confederation College, which has, like I mentioned before, a beautiful, awesome campus, but also an amazing media program and other programs as well. One's in health sciences, one's in business, one's in education. So you can check out the college website, Confederation College, to see what programs they have, because then if you come to school in Thunder Bay, then as an international student, you're exempt from needing work experience, that work experience requirement for the Rural Community Immigration Pilot, hint, hint. But also you're in, I guess they call this the Toronto of the North. I learned that yesterday. Not that you need to be in any sort of Toronto of anything, but you're in a very developed city. Everywhere is like a 20-minute drive. It's so beautiful. There is no traffic here, and the highway is 2 lanes, right? The speed limit is 90. Right? So that's the Thunder Bay for you. It's nowhere near the congestion that we experienced down in Toronto. And of course, I found the people here homey, willing to talk to you, kind of like my experience in Nova Scotia, where people were okay to interact. They're happy to interact with you. They smile and very friendly. And some places that we went into, they gave us a tour of the place and you show up unannounced, right? So that was very hospitable, very welcoming, and an amazing experience. Now, if you are considering Thunder Bay as something that you want to live, study, or immigrate to, please be aware of the details of the immigration programs. The immigration is constantly changing. So now, before the RNIP was I guess it was the pilot of the pilot to kind of test the water, see. So now they've come with the RCIP. It's a little bit more refined. There are designated employers, and a designated employer is an employer who is basically pre-approved to hire people either from outside of Canada or who are already here in Canada without needing a labor market impact assessment. And so they have a list of designated employers similar to the Atlantic Immigration Program. Similarly, they have a list of in-demand occupations similar to the express entry category-based draw. So there's a combination of things. And now there's points. Right? So the point system information is under the information for employers on the CEDC website. I would probably move that if I'd appreciate that. But it's important to know, what are your points? What's your base level? Where do you stand in comparison to other people? Are you eligible? You have to have at least 50 points to be eligible. So I recommend going down a rabbit hole, understanding the details of the program. And like we did, visit, see what it's like first, see what the jobs are like, see if you can make connections with people in the community, and then decide if it is for you. So this has been Our Immigration Stories as told by Canadian immigrants from Thunder Bay. I'm your host, Christina McPherson. If this was helpful for you, can you please smash that like button? And you've seen the magic of networking. If you just share this video with one other person, that other person has met the people that you just met on this show. That other person will be able to gain the knowledge and the wisdom that we shared, and they can pass it on too. And if this is more content, you want to see more content like this, subscribe to this YouTube channel. Thank you to all my guests. Thank you, ladies, for sharing. Thank you to my guests. Thank you to the people behind the scenes here at Confederation College. See you in the next video. Bye.